Revealed. Your miraculous soul awaits divine remembrance through the Akashic Records in 40 days. In the heart of a quaint English village, where the hills rolled like waves of green and the air was scented with blossoms, Sarah lived a life woven with faith and devotion. A single mother at 35, her world twinkled with the laughter of her 8-year-old son, James. He was her son, the center of her universe. Every Sunday at St. Jude's Church, she would lead prayer groups, her words soaring like melodies, igniting the spirits of the congregation. Blessings bubbled in every whispered prayer as Sarah lit candles, each flickering flame a testament to hope. But the light dimmed on that fateful day when the doctor's grim face shattered their sanctuary. A rare illness. The words echoed in her mind, a haunting melody of despair. The villagers prayed fervently, yet as time trickled by like raindrops on autumn leaves, Sarah felt the weight of expectation suffocating her spirit. How could she uphold her faith while watching her beloved son suffer? The shadow of doubt clung to her like a damp fog. One rainy afternoon, seeking solace, she climbed the creaky stairs to the church's attic. Among cobwebs and dust, an ancient, shimmering book caught her eye. The title glimmered, Akashic Records, the divine remembrance of souls. With trembling hands, she opened it, discovering promises of miraculous revelations stretched across the pages. Her heart raced. Could this be the answer she sought? Skepticism warred with hope, a fierce battle of the spirit. 40 days, she whispered, committing herself to delve deep into the records of her soul's past. Each day was a sacred adventure, a stirring of memories that felt both foreign and familiar. She encountered moments of profound joy, sorrow, and everything in between. Her faith was tested like golden fire, each day's journey illuminating shadows she had buried within. She wandered through dreams of ancestors, absorbing divine lessons that sparked warmth in her heart. Yet with each passing day, fear ebbed into guilt. Am I not devout enough? Her thoughts spun, questioning her doubts as they stung like nettles. The promise of divine intervention felt more and more just out of reach. One storm-laden night, she knelt in solitude in the church, her hands clasped, voice trembling, reciting a prayer passed through generations of strong women in her family. Lord, grant us a miracle. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the stained glass colors bursting forth, as if the divine itself were pouring light into the room. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night grew tense, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Suddenly, a hush swept over the church, the air crackling with divine energy as she clung to hope amidst her reality. James had shown fleeting signs of strength, moments of laughter piercing through the illness that had held him captive. The news rippled through the village like wildfire, igniting hearts. Prayerful shouts danced on the air, as each villager felt a personal connection to the miraculous unfolding. Yet with each spark of joy sprang shadows of doubt. The question lingered, could her village's faith endure when the storms returned? Sarah stood at the heart of it all, realizing that this experience transcended her son's healing. It was about a community woven together in love and belief. As the congregation celebrated, lifting hearts to the heavens, she wondered, what awaited them on the horizon? Could the mysteries of her soul through the Akashic Records reveal a greater divine purpose than she ever conceived? The answers danced just out of reach, leaving an echo of questions in her heart. As dawn broke, a gentle glow spilled into St. Jude's, bathing the dusty pews in a soft, golden light. Sarah arrived early, her heart pounding with anticipation. Each flickering candle seemed to pulse with promise, urging her forward into the waiting unknown. She felt different this morning, as if the very air she breathed was charged with possibility. James had awakened with a smile that morning, his laughter ringing like sweet music in her ears. Moments of health were fleeting and precious, but they sparked a flicker of hope that ignited the communal spirit woven through the village. As she reflected on this blessed morning, she felt the whisper of something more, an invitation from the divine. Could this be the beginning of a shift? With renewed resolve, she opened her worn book in the intimacy of the attic, the words appearing like prayers meant just for her. The pages seemed to flutter, almost as if stirred by divine breath. Today, she would dive deeply, seeking a truth that might transform not just her own faith, but that of the whole community. "Speak to me," she murmured, allowing the words to flow from her heart. A profound stillness enveloped her, wrapping her in a cocoon of silence. The room seemed to hum with ancient echoes as she read about divine connections extending beyond time, illuminating paths hidden to the naked eye. She felt a gentle nudge, as if ancestors long past reached out, urging her to trust. With every meaningful passage, her spirit soared. Sarah began to weave her own narrative into the fabric of the divine revelations. Images of joy and sorrow cascaded through her mind. She sensed that each trial her family had endured was a stitch in a larger tapestry, one that told the story of all lives intertwined in the arms of faith. Yet lurking in the back of her mind was the nagging question, would this be enough? Despair had its shadows, and she could feel them creeping back. But with a swift breath, she reminded herself of the miraculous signs witnessed in her village, the flickers of divinity that had pulled everyone closer together. Wasn't he at the heart of it all? On the 7th day of her journey with the records, she experienced an extraordinary moment. As she meditated on her own history, a memory burst forth, vivid and compelling. It was not her life alone that played out, but the struggles of her ancestors. They were women of faith, strong and resilient in adversity. Sarah could see their faces, their struggles reflected in her own. "You are not alone." The presence echoed through her heart. Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks, washing away the remnants of doubt. With every drop, she felt the burdens lift. It was clear the divine presence had stitched its love through generations, unbreakable and relentless. In that sacred moment, she understood her journey wasn't just about her son's healing. It was about uniting a community steeped in history, love, and faith. She chose to believe. With faith as her compass, she wanted to share this newfound understanding with her village. That evening, Sarah gathered the villagers in the church, excitement radiating from her spirit. "What if we could connect our stories?" she began, her voice steady and bright. "What if our combined faith could bring about a miracle?" Eager whispers filled the air, faces lit with curiosity and hope. As she looked around, she realized the spark needed to ignite a divine transformation was already alive within them. But Sarah felt one question linger. Would they dare to believe in the impossible? What awaited them at the edge of their faith? The answers shimmered like a distant star, beckoning them to a new awakening. As the villagers settled into their pews, Sarah's heart swelled with purpose. The scent of polished wood and soft candlelight created an atmosphere ripe for transformation. She stood before them, emboldened by the profound dreams and visions that had danced through her mind. This was not merely a gathering. It was a celestial calling to seek deeper truth. "Friends," she began, her voice steady yet warm. "Today we stand on the brink of something remarkable. What if our intertwining stories are not just mere happenings, but sacred threads of a divine tapestry? Imagine what miracles we could weave together." A murmur of agreement swept through the crowd. Faces brightened as hope lit their eyes, igniting a shared energy that pulsed in the air around them. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the presence of the ancestors standing with her, encouraging her every word. Each of us has experienced triumphs and struggles. What if we used these moments to connect with one another, to lift each other in prayer and unity? Together, we could call forth the wonders of our hearts. The congregation leaned forward, eager to receive the blessings of her vision. She recalled the teachings she had absorbed in the attic, stories of faith overcoming despair, and the miracles born from collective voices raised in devotion. But it requires daring to believe in what has not yet been revealed. There was a stillness in the air, as if the very walls of St. Jude's held their breath. It was that rare, sacred silence, a moment between heartbeats, where divine whispers danced like dappled sunlight across their rapt faces. "What if?" she continued, her voice lowering to a reverent hush. We gathered each week, sharing our stories, lifting each other up. What if we offered our prayers and, in doing so, invoked the presence of miraculous love among us? The light flickering from the candles cast flickers of gold across their faces, emphasizing their eagerness. The hopeful spirit swelled in the room, and Sarah felt the warmth of their collective faith. Old Mrs. Thompson, who had weathered countless storms, raised her hand, her fingers trembling with age and excitement. Dear Sarah, what if our stories are like sacred notes, each one unique, but creating a beautiful symphony when played together? Exactly, Sarah exclaimed, her heart racing. A symphony of faith, a chorus of resilience, that resonates through generations. If we can surrender our individual doubts, imagine how powerfully we could connect. Visions flooded through her, a day where villagers would rise as one, voices harmonious like a river flowing through valleys of prayer. She felt the gravity of their fears, their hesitancies, but she also saw the flickers of hope lighting a path forward, urging them towards something greater than themselves. The night sky deepened outside, and with it, conviction spread like wildflowers in her heart. Tonight, I invite you to join me in a covenant, a promise to seek the divine together, to unravel the tapestry of our shared existence. She could see her words landing softly, catching their imaginations, weaving hope into their hearts. Let us embark on this journey over 40 days. Each week we'll gather to witness the energy of our stories, to heal, to love, and, by doing so, awaken the miraculous soul within each of us. The ensuing silence felt electric, as if the heavens had leaned in closer. It was a moment filled with expectancy and awakening, the villagers sensing that they were on the cusp of something life-changing. What transformations might lie hidden within their collective remembrance? Would they risk taking that leap of faith into the unknown? As they pondered the journey ahead, Sarah could feel the divine presence waiting, ready to unveil the power of their united hearts. As the murmur of excitement wove through the gathering, a stillness settled. The flickering candlelight reflected the profound weight of their decision, casting shadows that danced like memories, whispering their promises of change. Sarah's heart quickened. She knew they were standing at the threshold of something sacred. Imagine, she breathed, allowing her imagination to spill forth. Imagine if, in our shared stories, we could uncover echoes of divine purpose. Each testimony, a piece of the puzzle. Each prayer, a thread in the fabric of our communal spirit. With each gathering, we can unlock the door to our true selves. Around her, the villagers shifted, their excitement palpable. Younger faces lit up with the glow of possibility, while the older ones looked on with the wisdom of years lived and battles fought. And think about this, she continued, feeling her spirit soar higher with each heartfelt word. What if the healing we seek is not just for our individual hearts, but for the entire village? What if our prayers create a river of grace that washes over this land, lifting burdens and bringing forth joy? A ripple of hope surged through the congregation. It was old Thomas, the revered fisherman, who broke the stillness next. Sarah, I've seen storms that try to capsize our boats. I've faced despair upon the waves. But if we truly believe we can stand firm together, then let us cast our nets and draw in the abundance of faith. Yes, exactly, Sarah exclaimed, her excitement soaring. Like fishermen drawing together in unity, we will catch not only blessings for ourselves, but also for those around us. Let us immerse ourselves in this together. Can we commit to gathering every week, sharing our challenges and our victories, our prayers and our praises? As if choreographed, heads began to nod, hands reached out, creating a cozy web of solidarity. The light from the candles flickered brighter, illuminating their faces and electrifying the air around them. Hope swirled in the space, intertwining with the crisp night air that flowed through the open windows. We can start this very week, she suggested, her heart racing. Let us prepare to gather at St. Jude's every Thursday evening. Bring your stories, your burdens, your dreams. Bring your families. Your tears and laughter will be our offerings to the divine. A wave of soft voices filled the room, each whisper a testament to faith igniting. They embraced the journey ahead, a journey toward uncovering the hidden layers of their shared existence, the interconnectedness of their souls. The resolve to come together felt transcendent, Then, amidst the enthusiasm, a voice quivered from the back of the church. It was young Timothy, the boy who often found solace in the gardens. But what if we don't know what to share? What if our lives feel too ordinary? Sarah's smile broadened. Ah, Timothy, nothing is too ordinary when born from the heart. It is in the simple things that miracles often bloom. Your voice, your story holds power. Even a seed planted in faith can yield a forest of miracles. With renewed enthusiasm, the villagers wiped away whisperings of doubt, their hearts now heavy with promise and light. Sarah let the words linger, sensing a shift in the atmosphere, a divine invitation to dive deeper into collective faith. As they all exchanged practiced smiles of newfound purpose, the realization dawned upon them. They were not merely writers of their own stories. They were joining a glorious narrative woven together by the hands of the divine. Together, they would embark on a pilgrimage of remembrance, each gathering a step closer to unveiling the miraculous within them. And with every confession uttered and prayer offered, they might just rediscover the divine echoes of their souls. But then what if within their shared journey lay a mystery even they had yet to uncover? Was there a deeper thread binding them to someone or something far beyond their understanding? The questions lingered, filling the air with sacred expectancy. The dawn was approaching, and with it came the promise of revelation. As the promise of revelation lingered in the air, the villagers filed out of the church, their spirits buoyed by the anticipation of transformation. Candles flickered softly, now mere embers of hope, but their light had already inscribed itself upon the hearts of all who had gathered. In the days that followed, Sarah busied herself, inspired by the excitement shared in that sacred space. Every evening, she directed her steps to the fields where the wildflowers blossomed. Each flower showcased goddess artistry, delicate yet resilient. As she touched the petals, she whispered friendly encouragement, knowing just how precious every story within this village was, stories waiting to be watered with faith. Amid her contemplations, Sarah began to exchange letters with old Thomas, inviting him to share tales from his life at sea. Much like the waters he traversed, the rich stories held depth and currents that shaped the village's very foundation. Timothy joined in too, sending his thoughts in journal pages filled with sketches of gardens and bustling life. It warmed Sarah's heart to see the younger generation engage so passionately. Meanwhile, at dusk, the villagers understood that preparation for their first gathering at St. Jude's was not merely physical. It required their souls to awaken. As each Thursday evening neared, they found themselves in quiet moments, reflecting on what they could bring to the circle of shared faith. A prayer whispered under breath, a challenge rippling through their hearts, a joy bursting to be shared. When the first Thursday arrived, the air was intoxicating with expectancy. The congregation spilled into St. Jude's, filling the pews with life. Laughter mingled with prayers, and the soft sound of a guitar strummed a gentle melody that resonated with their collective spirit. Sarah stood at the front, her heart a symphony of hope. Tonight, she began, her voice steadier than she might have imagined. We gather as seekers. Each of us holds a piece of a much larger tapestry. Let us open our hearts to the divine whispers that fill this sacred space. The first to share was Anna, a widow with silver strands woven through her hair. Her voice quivered, yet held a resonant power. 6 months ago, I lost my beloved Harold. But in my sorrow, I found strength in our memories. Each prayer for him brought me closer to understanding that love doesn't die, it transforms. Tears flowed down her cheeks, and those seated around her offered comforting nods and solidarity. As others shared, stories poured forth, tales of fears conquered, doubts laid bare, and hopes nurtured. With every confession, Sarah could practically feel the warmth of the divine washing over them, a gentle current weaving them together. Each story became an offering, carried high like fragrant incense. Timothy, finally finding his courage, stood up to share. I like to watch the clouds. They're always changing, but they remind me that no storm lasts forever. His innocent words echoed in the hearts of many. But then, an unexpected hush fell over the crowd. A heavy cloud of solemnity filled the air as a stranger stepped forward, an old man dressed in a frayed coat, his eyes sharp yet tender. I have heard you united in faith, but have you ever wondered who else might be watching? What threads lie beyond our stories, binding us to the unknown? His question hung like a mystical mist over the gathering. Was there more to discover? Were they not only unveiling their stories, but also awakening something greater? As warmth enveloped the space, a divine silence spoke louder than words. With hearts racing and minds ignited, the villagers sensed a stirring of possibilities. There was more to explore in their shared journey, a depth that beckoned them into a sacred embrace. This was just the beginning, wasn't it? What secrets would they uncover together? What divine revelations awaited them? As they closed in prayer that night, a profound silence held them captive, knowing they stood at the brink of something monumental and what awaited them in the shadows. As the golden light of dawn broke over the village, the promise of a new day matched the hopes swelling in the hearts of its residents. The morning air carried whispers of faith, a gentle breeze, urging them all to come together once more. As Sarah made her way to the fields, she felt a tug at her heart. The stranger's words lingered like a lingering melody waiting to be set free. Gatherings at St. Jude's had ignited a fervor that none anticipated, and the thrill of anticipation mixed with an insatiable curiosity about what lay ahead. Perhaps these shared stories were portals to deeper understanding, unveiling truths that had been long buried. That evening, the villagers returned to the church, the atmosphere heightened, almost electric with expectation. Each face glimmered with eagerness as they settled into their familiar places. Sarah could feel the pulse of community, their hearts beating in unison as they awaited the next participant to share their story. The floor was opened, allowing their spirits to rise together. One by one, they spoke. Clara shared her experience of forgiving a childhood friend who had wronged her, her voice quaking at first, but growing stronger with each word. "It was like lifting a veil from my eyes," she said, her joy spilling into the eyes of those around her. "Through forgiveness, I found a newer, brighter light reflecting my true self." Gasps of wonder filled the air, creating a tapestry of emotion. The warmth of Christ's love enveloped each soul present, comforting them in shared revelations and aspirations. They were like branches on a single tree, each carrying the weight of the other's story. As the evening wore on, Sarah noticed old Thomas shifting in his seat, his face illuminated by an inner light. It was as though he was wrestling with some weighty truth within himself. Finally, he stood. The respect in the room was palpable as they focused their attention on the old sailor. "I have sailed the seas and confronted stormy skies," he began, his hands emphasizing the magnitude of his journeys. "Yet, the most turbulent waters are those of the soul. I once believed my failures defined me. But faith taught me otherwise." He paused, his gaze sweeping over the congregation. "We are more than our missteps. We are vessels of grace. Each story we tell unlocks brushes of color on the canvas of our lives, revealing divine artistry in the making." The room fell into an awed silence, each word pouring into their souls, resonating with a deep familiarity. Then, as if summoned by an unseen hand, the old man from before quietly stepped forward once more. "You speak of grace, yet ask yourselves, have you truly accepted it? Or are you still standing at the shores of your past?" His words struck like thunder, electrifying the space. The atmosphere thickened with a mixture of contemplation and urgency. Questions surged through the collective heart of the villagers. How could they know if they had truly welcomed grace into their lives? Were they prepared to give the unknown a voice, embracing the uncertainties that lay ahead? As each person wrestled with their reflections, Sarah felt an awakening stir within. It wasn't merely the stories shared. It was the underlying call to dive deeper into their faith, to confront insecurities, to embrace new beginnings, and to trust that every moment, each trial and triumph had not only purpose, but also divine intent. As the evening drew to a close, holding hands, they prayed together, thanking God for each revelation, each story they had shared. With hearts knitting tighter together, an unmistakable promise lingered. The crowd dispersed slowly, their spirits alive and pondering what awaited them. An exhilarating question hung over them like a shooting star. Would they dare to step into the vastness of divine possibilities awaiting their sacred acceptance? The moving whispers of faith flowed through their minds. What would happen if we opened our hearts to the revelations yet unspooled? And just like that, a new chapter awaited to unfold in their lives. The next morning dawned crisp and clear, filling the village with renewed energy. As the sun peeked over the hills, bathing everything in hues of amber, Sarah felt a stirring within her. The tales from the previous night resonated deeply, igniting a fire that urged her to seek something greater than herself. With each step towards St. Jude's, she pondered the unanswered questions that swirled in her mind. The idea of embracing the unknown felt daunting yet exhilarating. What would it mean to fully accept grace? To truly let go of her past? Upon entering the church, the welcoming warmth embraced her, wrapping her in a cocoon of love. She noticed the villagers arriving one by one, their faces painted with a blend of curiosity and determination. The anticipation hung heavy in the air, almost tangible. They had tasted the sweetness of vulnerability, and now they sought to delve deeper. Pastor Eli stood at the pulpit, his presence commanding yet gentle. "Today, my friends," he began, "we gather not only to share our stories, but to explore the very essence of our souls." His voice reverberated through the sanctuary, resonating with a powerful truth. We will embark on a journey together, a journey that brings revelation and transformation. Whispers of excitement rippled through the congregation. Sarah felt her heart quicken, as if primed for a magnificent unveiling. Pastor Eli continued, "Each of us carries a sacred story within the essence of who we are. Some days, it might feel heavy, obscured by burdens or regrets. Other days, it shines like the sun, illuminating our path." He paused, letting his words settle. But it's essential to remember that within each of us lies a miraculous spirit waiting to awaken. From the back of the church, old Thomas raised a hand. "How do we awaken this spirit, Pastor?" His voice trembled with sincerity. "Great question, Thomas," Eli responded, his gaze warm. "We start by exploring our history, no matter how painful it may feel. Embracing it is key to finding our way back." There was a murmur of agreement. "We will share not just our triumphs, but also our struggles. Each revelation has the power to unveil our true selves." As more stories flowed, Sarah found herself enthralled. Jenny spoke of her struggle with addiction, her journey to sobriety a testament of resilience. "It was through surrendering to something greater than myself that I found freedom," she shared, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Every single day within this sacred space, Eli reminded them, is a fresh chance for renewal. We are all subjects of grace, and together, we can kindle the flames of transformation. With each shared story, the atmosphere shifted. Tears turned to laughter as struggles were met with understanding. The collective laughter built a bridge, connecting hearts and lifting heavy weights. Sarah exchanged glances with Clara and old Thomas. They were sharing something profound. But just as the room felt charged with unity, an unexpected ache flickered in Sarah's heart. Could she truly let go of her fear? She caught old Thomas's eye and felt a surge of wisdom radiating from him. The weight of unspoken words hung heavily, as if he sensed her inner turmoil. "Are we ready to confront our soul's shadows?" he asked softly, breaking the underlying tension. The question echoed in Sarah's heart, a call to deeper introspection. As the gathering ended, Sarah wandered outside under the vast sky. She breathed in the cool air, reflecting on everything she had heard. The precious words resonated with promises of transformation, yet the weight of personal fears clung tightly. Just as uncertainty began to cloud her, a gentle breeze whispered through the trees. She felt it again, the stirring sense of connection, of something divine beckoning her forward. What awaited on this journey of awakening? As she felt her heart beckoning, she sensed the horizon stretching out before her. The echoes of grace, filled with divine potential, made her wonder, could she walk through the door to a deeper understanding of her miraculous soul? And so, with hope fluttering in her heart, Sarah took a bold step toward the unknown, ready for divine remembrance to unfold in its glorious timing. The dawn of the next day brought with it a sense of urgency, a gentle nudge from the universe that beckoned Sarah to explore further. The sun rose, casting soft golden beams through her window, illuminating the dust particles that danced in the air. She had barely slept, her mind swirling with thoughts stemming from the gathering at St. Jude's. There was a whisper of divine potential echoing in her heart, urging her to embrace this enigmatic journey. As she made her way to the church, Sarah felt an electrifying sense of purpose. Each footfall resonated with the promise of discovery, as if the ground beneath her was alive, blessing her path. She arrived to find the church bustling with energy, villagers engaging with each other in warm exchanges, their spirits buoyant. Today felt different. Today was a step deeper. Pastor Eli welcomed everyone with a radiant smile, his eyes glimmering with an otherworldly light. Today, we will delve into the depths of our souls, exploring the divine truth that lies within each of us, he proclaimed, excitement rippling through the congregation. We may take a journey into our shadows, but remember, light always follows darkness. Sarah felt her heartbeat quicken as she listened, her spirit yearning for transformation, for the unveiling of truths long buried. The pastor continued, "It's not just about sharing. It's about inviting change into our lives. To awaken the miraculous spirit, we must unveil the boxes we've built around our hearts." As stories unfolded, Sarah was captivated. They shared tales of pain and healing, each word wrapped in love and discovery. Clara stepped forward, her voice shaking. "I feared my past would forever define me, but the moment I shared it, I felt a weight lift. It transformed into my strength." The room was thick with emotion. Sarah felt the weight of her own untold story pressing against her. Once again, old Thomas's eyes met hers, radiating warmth and understanding. He stepped up, casting a glance around the room. "Together, as one body, let us dare to release what holds us captive." He encouraged them to close their eyes and envision a light warming the parts of their souls that had been hidden away. In that moment, Sarah closed her eyes, allowing the presence of God to wash over her. She visualized herself on an open path, surrounded by divine light, her burdens dissolving, gently guiding her towards an unshackling of her heart. The scene felt sacred, almost tangible. Then, the gentle voice of Pastor Eli broke through. "Now, I invite you to share any part of your story, your light or shadow. In vulnerability, we find strength." Murmurs filled the air as hesitant hands were raised. After a moment of silence, Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the power of communal strength. "I've carried fear for so long that it has shaped my life," she confessed, her heart racing. "But perhaps the time has come to let it go. I want to step into grace." The congregation wrapped her in a chorus of encouragement. Old Thomas nodded. "Yes, dear Sarah, you stand at the threshold." Tears streamed down her face, but this time, they felt like tears of release, a divine cleansing. As she opened her eyes, the world shimmered, the faces around her radiating love. Each voice joined in harmonious affirmation that they were one, a tapestry woven with stories of surrender and awakening. After the gathering, Sarah lingered, absorbing the warmth and encouragement of those around her. As she stepped outside, a slight chill remained in the air, but her heart felt a glowing warmth as if ignited anew. She wondered to what heights could this light take her. With the horizon before her alive with possibility, she felt an exhilarating pull to move forward. What miraculous revelations awaited her as she drew closer to understanding the depths of her soul? As Sarah stepped boldly into this new chapter, she heard the rustle of leaves, a reminder from the divine that the journey ahead was filled with grace. Yet, an enticing question lingered in the air. In this exploration of the miraculous, how much more would she uncover about herself and the community that surrounded her? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, a warm glow enveloped the village, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch toward the church. The day was not just fading. It was preparing to reveal something sacred. With each step towards St. Jude's, Sarah felt a growing anticipation, as if the air itself was charged with potent energy. Entering the church, she noticed the flickering candles, their flames dancing like little spirits in the twilight. The atmosphere was thick with hope, and whispers of expectation echoed through the halls. Each familiar face wore a look of determination, each filled with stories waiting to bloom. Pastor Eli beckoned them to gather in a circle. His voice, calm yet vibrant, resonated in the stillness. "Today, we embark on a quest not just to share our pasts, but to weave a fabric of faith that glorifies the divine purpose each of us carries." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle within them. "I urge you to listen to the whispers of your heart." Sarah felt the pulse of the congregation, the heartbeat of a community eager for connection. She closed her eyes and inhaled deeply, drawing in the fragrance of incense mixed with something sweet and fresh, like new beginnings. Then came the moment of sharing. One by one, villagers recounted their journeys, the struggles they faced, the love they found, the faith that endured. Sarah listened intently, her heart swelling. She heard Jenny's account of her battle with anxiety and how revealing it shattered the chains that bound her. Mark spoke of grief, how the death of his mother taught him profound lessons about love and loss. Each tale was imbued with divine grace, transforming their pain into tokens of hope. Finally, as Sarah felt the urge to speak rise within her again, the slightest tremor of doubt crept in. What if my story is unworthy? What if it doesn't contribute? But a gentle inner voice reassured her, your vulnerability is a gift. Taking another deep breath, Sarah realized that this gathering was not just about her, it was about the collective heartbeat of the community. Each revelation shone a light on the shadows that often lurked in silence. Gathering her courage, she stepped forward. I've been afraid to share my truth because it feels tangled and raw. But I know it holds a lesson for me, and perhaps for someone here. Her heart raced as she spoke, but the warmth of their gaze enveloped her, urging her on. I have wrestled with feeling unworthy, and it has kept me from the grace God offers. The room seemed to hold its breath. A gentle wave of support washed over her. Old Thomas nodded knowingly. It is here in this space, dear Sarah, that we transform our shadows into light. We are not alone. As she finished, tears of relief spilled down her cheeks. It felt liberating to stand among her friends, sharing in the human experience. There was power in vulnerability. With renewed courage, they joined hands, hearts intertwined in their shared revelations. Overhead, the last light of day glimmered through the stained glass, painting their faces with hues of red and gold. In that sacred moment, the church felt alive, a cocoon of divine love and connection, reminding them that through their struggles, they were being shaped into something magnificent. As candlelight flickered like stars in the expansive night beyond the church walls, Sarah sensed a shift within. There was a divine whisper stirring in her heart, urging her to dig deeper, to explore the depth she had yet to uncover. What awaited her in the sacred scriptures of her soul? With that question echoing in her heart, a newfound resolve took root within her. She leaned into the promise of tomorrow, eager to discover the truth that lay waiting and to unearth the wisdom that might inspire and uplift those around her. What awaited her in this sacred exploration, as she listened more closely to the divine narrative woven through her life? The new dawn unfolded softly over the village, wrapping St. Jude's in a warm, golden embrace. The air pulsed with anticipation, as if the universe itself held its breath. Sarah, with renewed strength coursing through her veins, made her way to the church, her heart aflame with hope. Gathered inside, the villagers filled the pews like vibrant threads in a tapestry of faith. Each face shimmered with eagerness, ready to dive deeper into the collective journey they had embarked upon together. Today would be pivotal, the day they would not only recall their stories, but also unlock the divine potential dormant within. Pastor Eli welcomed them with open arms, his eyes sparkling with the light of truth. Dear friends, he began, today we will delve into the heart of our spirit, illuminating the path each of us walks in this sacred dance of life. Each story shared today is a step toward the miraculous. As the first volunteer stepped forward, Sarah felt an electric current charge the room. Anna, with eyes shimmering like stars, shared her journey of healing through community support. Each time I felt sorrow, it was the warmth of our shared prayers that pulled me back into light, she proclaimed, her voice rising like a hymn. A chorus of affirmations followed. Each tale they told, every victory, and every struggle reshaped their narrative. Faces lit up, smiles broke through tears, and laughter mingled with reverence. Sarah's anticipation mounted. She felt the pulse of divine presence in the room beckoning her to share. Then, inspired by the stories of resilience, she stepped into the spotlight of vulnerability. I've lived in shadows for so long, she began, her voice quivering yet steady, fearing that my struggles didn't matter, that they were too small compared to the weight of others. Murmurs of understanding rippled through the congregation. But I now see, she continued, that our stories, no matter their size, hold the power to heal, connect, and uplift us all. With each syllable, her spirit grew lighter, as if unburdening the weight she had carried too long. As her voice gathered strength, others joined in support, affirming her courage. Clara's voice chimed in. Your story is a sacred thread, Sarah. It claims its place in this tapestry. Tears of joy streamed down Sarah's cheeks. There was something sublime in this communal embrace. She felt the spirit of the ancestors surrounding them, urging them on, whispering of legacy and love. In that moment of shared vulnerability, something began to shift. The church filled with palpable energy, as if the very walls pulsed with life. It was as if the divine breath swept through the congregation, stirring hearts and raising spirits to greater heights. Pastor Eli's smile radiated pure love. Every shared story is a doorway, the gateway to the miraculous. By embracing our history, we not only heal ourselves, but also touch the souls of those around us. The gathering swelled with sacred reverence, amplifying faith in the power of story. Sarah and her neighbors committed to explore their pasts further, daring to dream and believe in the miraculous unfolding of their lives. As the gathering reached its crescendo, they joined hands, a living chain of shared experiences. In their hearts, an unshakable promise resided, solid as the stones of their beloved church. Together, we step into the unknown, Pastor Eli proclaimed. As one, let us strive to reveal the miracles waiting to be born from our united faith. Each week we gather. Let us reaffirm our purpose, a purpose woven through prayer, love, and honesty. With heartfelt prayers lifting like incense, they felt the weight of the past begin to crumble. It was here, among whispers of faith, that new beginnings sparkled brighter than ever before. They stepped out into the clear night. A soft breeze kissed their faces, instilling a sense of boundless possibility. Stars twinkled against the velvet sky, a reminder that hope is alive and divinely orchestrated. Filled with purpose, Sarah smiled through her tears, looking at her son, James, who smiled back. With wide eyes filled with love, the village had ignited a fire within her, a thirst for connection and awakening. With every gathering, they would unravel cosmic truths, one miraculous encounter at a time. As more villagers joined this sacred journey, whispers of unity spread like wildfire in their hearts. They would create a legacy of faith, resilience, and transformation. Together, they would rise like a tide, washing over the landscape with divine remembrance. In the glow of community and the depths of every soul, the miraculous awaited them just beyond the horizon now. Dear friends, let us embrace our own journeys. You need to subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will uplift your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm's power. Your support genuinely makes a difference. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this impactful ending. Let us share in what God has done. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful manifestation of our divine stories. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to be a vessel of faith. Every simple act counts in His kingdom.